You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacqueline.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You're watching Talking Heads. Hello, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. We've got a wonderful show for you. It's a beautiful day here in the state of New Jersey, and I'm so honored and privileged to be able to bring experts to you from around the world. We meet 7 times a week right here on this platform, where experts come and share information, education, and knowledge to help make us better personally or professionally. With me today, back again on our stage, is the lovely Caroline Eward. Caroline, so nice to see you again.
And you too. I feel like we're old friends now.
I do too. It's incredible. Before we begin, I would just love if you would share with our audience who's watching or listening live or maybe on the replay, what is the value that you've been getting out of doing these presentations? Because you've been very active here and we really appreciate you.
The value that I've been getting is to help educate and transform others. One of my big things is that I've been saying I'm not reaching enough people, I'm not helping enough people. And one of the things I've wanted to do was to reach more, to change more lives. And this platform is giving me exactly that, because if they're not there at the time that I'm making the broadcast, it is recorded, and so they can take it in their own time. And it's like I'm in a meditation when I'm doing these transmissions. And that's what it is. It's a transmission for me. And it is about helping to change our world to a more peaceful place. That's not just the world, that's every single person in it that watches this broadcast transmission.
Thank you, Caroline. That was absolutely beautiful. And I love what you said about getting out and helping more people. Before we got on to the live broadcast, you and I were talking a little bit backstage, and there's something exciting that's coming up. I don't know if you're able to share it now.
Yes, I can. So on Wednesday afternoon, one of the directors of the Universal Peace Federation at UPF UK, I did a global peace meditation in 2019 on September the 21st. And the director, and it went down very well. And the director on Wednesday said, it would be really good if you could do that, just sort it, organise it, write a proposal. And I thought, well, there's not much time for that. So I made a couple of calls, and I reached out to a musician that I've been working with, a shaman who's created an amazing medicine song, a Karo blessing, and it's to help people with trauma and stress to move into a place of inner peace. And with my guided relaxation meditation, together, that's going to create an amazing combination to reach people, to create an environment of peace, inner and external, in their world. And I'm really excited because it's in 11 days today.
That's fantastic. And I think it's really important that we tie it together for people who are watching, because we are on Talking Heads. But in order to be an expert in any area, you really have to be an expert within yourself. What do you say? You have to get to know yourself. You have to be at peace with yourself. And I feel, at least for me, meditation is really important. And I'm also a certified meditation coach. So I think it's important that people understand it's not just about what's coming out of your mouth. It's actually about how you are within your body and how you present yourself to the world. And meditation really has a lot to do with that. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is that when I'm doing the broadcasts, I'm actually in a meditation. I don't consider them as information, teaching, although it does have that on the surface of my presentation. Underneath, there is an experience that is transformational. And it was one of the comments that you made at the end of one of my chakra series, is that you said you felt like you'd had a massage. And that's exactly what it feels like. And so the content, although it's very, very detailed, it actually is a transformational experience because I'm doing other things as well. And that's what I'm getting from it, that I'm actually helping people transform their lives through the information and the transmission. And when I write my information, I'm writing it as a transmission. So I'm in a very deep space of meditation, and it's coming through me and out to give the world.
Well, I'm excited for that transformation experience and to feel like I'm getting that massage again. So, are you ready to present, Caroline?
I sure am. And today I'm actually not using a deck. I'm going to do it freestyle. So,
I love this. All right, I'm going to go backstage and you have a beautiful presentation.
thank you. Today I'm going to be continuing the series of the mind-body connection and the behaviors of the busy mind. And today we're going to look at some really, really incredible things that you can do through this presentation and in your daily life that will literally change your experiences. So the first thing I want to look at is, this is the third in the series of this series, and the topics that I'm going to cover today are how self-esteem issues can impact the way we communicate to others. You're going to discover how the words you say and create help others receive your communication and your outcomes. You will learn 3 ways of changing your communication to gain positive outcomes for your business and your personal life. So I'm going to start looking at some of the words that we use when we have low self-esteem. So low self-esteem issues are based in the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is our power center. It's our confidence. It's our fire and our sight. And if we have low self-esteem, we're not feeling in our power. So we will tend to use words that are less powerful for our experiences, for ourselves and for others. Excuse me. So when we're not feeling good about ourselves, we will tend to use the words like maybe, hopefully, probably, because we're not sure about the outcomes of what we want to do. And because we're not sure, it comes out in our communication. So that maybe I might do that, or I'll try to do that, or I will consider that, I will look into that. They're all things that the person that's hearing your communication does not know how you're going. They're feeling not confident about your outcomes. So I'm going to look at how we use a few of those words. And the first one I'm going to look at is but. Have you heard anyone say yes, but? And when somebody says yes, but, what happens is the person receiving the information and the communication, they know that whatever it is that you're saying yes, but you're giving all the excuses and explanation as to why it's not possible. So, for instance, one of the familiar scenarios is somebody invites you to a party, and you say, "Yeah, I'd love to come. I really want to meet all your friends. I had a really good time last time I was there, but I've got a mountain of paperwork to do, and I'm not going to. I've got to adhere to the deadline. It's my tax return. I will come back and let you know." So, does that feel? Do you get a sense of, yes, they're coming for sure? The feeling that you get is, no, they're not going to come, because all the words that they've said after the but is what you hear. And that's because even though they've been a people pleaser in their own way, they've said yes, da, 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 all the reasons that they're saying, yes, I want to come. And then they close it down by saying, but. And when they close down by saying, but, what happens to the receiver of that communication is they only hear what's after the but. They disregard what you said before the but, and they only hear what's after the but, because that's the true communication that you're saying. Now, a lot of people, we call them in the trade, yes butters. They say yes, and they always have a but straight away. And it's because they probably find it very difficult to say, no, I can't. And no, because of these reasons. And certainly there's very polite cultures, such as the British and the Canadians, that will be extremely polite and they'll find it very difficult to say no. So you might find quite a few yes butters in those kinds of places. So what can you do to bring in the positive stuff and the not so great stuff? You can actually create a bridge in your communication. And the bridge is really simple. Instead of using the 3-letter word but, use another 3-letter word, and. What and does is it creates a bridge between the positive stuff and the not so positive stuff. And so when the person hears it, it's all linked. So let me go back into that practical example so that you can see how this works. Last time I came to your party, I had a really good time. I met some great people and I'd love to come again. And I just want to let you know, I do have a mountain of paperwork to do. I'm working on my tax return and I will come back and let you know I really would like to come. That somehow feels a bit more softer and a bit more palatable and a bit easier on the ear. And the person feels left with, yeah, that person will probably come and they'll do everything they can to be there. So let's look at a few other ways that we say but. There is a gentleman's but. Oh yes, there's a gentleman's but. And he says, however. So they will say what they need to say that's positive to keep the person happy. And then they will sprinkle it with a however, and then they will give all the negative information. Now, the however, that is a challenge because, again, the person hears after the however. That's the key message that they hear after the however. And it's a soft but, and it's still a but. And as I said, a gentleman's but. So it comes in line with although, therefore, so however, although, and sometimes you can be littering your communication that's written with these caveat words of although and however. And the person that's receiving that communication never really feels confident that you really mean what you're saying. And they're only picking up and resonating with what's after the however, although, and the but. So go back in your business to any reports that you've made. Go back to conversations that you've had and smile. And next time, because it is an awareness, behavioral change happens in awareness. And you can't change something without being aware of what's happening. Now, when people are receiving your communication negatively, and you're not in awareness that that's how it's being received because you're doing everything you can to make them feel good about what you're saying, what can happen is you're being left with an uncomfortable, negative experience. Energetically, it won't feel very good. And the other person will just feel that you're not interested. Use the word and build the bridge of what's positive and what's negative. And when you bring those two together everything becomes quite transformational and amazing for the person receiving your communication and yourself, because you will feel better. When you use yes, but, or you use the word but has a much lower vibration. Words have frequency, and when you're using the word but, however, although, therefore, those words, they're lower vibration, and you want to move people into a much kinder and a much higher vibration in the heart. And when you're in the heart, you're in a place of transformation. I'd like to look at try, tried, and trying. Have you heard yourself or friends or colleagues say, I will try to come back to you by the end of the day? If I hear that, I know they're not going to come back. I know for sure that they are not going to come back at all. And so one of the things I have a little habit of saying is, I really would like you to come back today. And so can you please come back with the best timing before the end of your day? And they'll say, I will try to come back before the end of your day. And I will turn around and say, I would really like you to succeed. So can you please call me before close of play with the response? And sometimes the person gets a little bit frustrated because they're not appreciating or realizing how their try is coming across. Now let's give you another example. Tried is the past tense of try and trying. So if I said, I tried to make you a cup of coffee, I want you to think about this. Did I succeed or did I fail? I tried to make you a cup of coffee. It's past tense, and tried means you failed. You did have a go, but you failed. And the derivatives, the current tense of tried is try and trying. So if you ever use the word trying or try, you are literally setting yourself up to fail. And I wouldn't want that for anyone. I would really want you to succeed in everything that you do. And so my invitation for you, when you hear yourself, when you hear it slip, try or trying, smile and say, and I will come back to you. Because when you use the word and, I will make you a cup of coffee. So take the word try out or trying. Now in English grammar, when I was at school, we would do sentence structure and we would do English language. And when you take out the word try out of that scenario, I will make you a cup of coffee. That's a much higher vibration. And the outcome is positive because you know the person will make you a cup of coffee. But if you take out, if you put in the try, I will try and make you a cup of coffee, it has a totally different feeling, a different frequency, and a different meaning. And the person knows you're not going to make the cup of coffee. And so instead of using try, use the words I will, I am, I do. And when you use those words and you take out the word try, something changes in what happens to the person that receives your communication. It's more positive. And it also changes your outcomes. And your outcomes are what I care about. I care that you have positive outcomes in everything you do. And because my background is about behaviors, changing, looking at behaviors, once you're in awareness and you'll start hearing your try, you're trying, and you're tried, when you start hearing it, that's the point of transformational behavioral change. And at that point, you can change, smile, and say, I will make you that cup of coffee. I will come back to you by the end of the day. Or I am working on this proposal. I will get it to you before the end of the day. And that I will, and I am, and I do creates a very different feeling inside you as the communicator and the person that receives your communication. Now, if anybody ever watches Star Wars, I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but I have many clients that kind of quote this to me. So I feel likened to be able to quote this. Yoda in Star Wars, he actually is the one with great perspectives and analogies, and the one with the mystical, insights. And he would say, there is no try. You either do or do not. There is no try. Let me say that again. There is no try. There is either do or do not. And when you look at it like that, there is only I do, I am, and then you get your outcomes that's positive. Now, I invite you to go back to your proposals, your reports, and go and look at where you've actually said things that are not so revealing in terms of positive for you, because now you will see your reports in a different way. And when you change the words from I am trying to work towards this deadline to I am working towards this deadline, I will do my best to come back to you by the end of the day, something changes in your communication and the receiver receiving that message. Now, this is revelationary in terms of what your experiences will be. Your experience, just literally changing these few things, will move you into a higher state of consciousness and a higher state of creating exactly what you are thinking about. You will create in a really big way. So my invitation is to go back to some of your business reports, proposals, and see what happens when you represent them. One of my clients actually did exactly that after a client session with me. And he went back, all failed proposals. He did about 10 of them, and they all came back with literally hundreds of thousands of pounds. And I should have said to him, I would like a percentage when you use this strategy, this practice, because I would be rolling in it by now. So my invitation is to follow the lead of that particular client, because the feedback was outstandingly, unbelievably transformational for him. Thank you for taking part in this lesson. And the invitation is really out there to move into a state of being by raising your frequency and changing your language. You've been listening to Caroline Hewitt, the Harley Street Stress Expert. My whole work is about the mind and body connection. And if you have a lack of confidence or self-esteem, your words will relate to how you're feeling and experiencing life. So change is transformational when you use these few practices. You can reach me on No More Stress at live.co.uk or phone me on +44 7523 120 189. Thank you.
Another brilliant presentation. I've got a lot of comments, but we're going to take a quick break if that's all right with you. All right. And then Caroline and I will have a little conversation about her presentation. We'll be right back. We're going to watch one of our sponsors, Listening to Smile. We'll be right back here on USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio.
The music, services, and programs that we offer at Listening to Smile are based off of scientific studies and research, along with our own personal experiences and testimonials from our clients and our affiliates that we work with worldwide. My own personal journey began in around 2010, and I tried to find relief from a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with. And the traditional ways of healing, they tried to fit me in this box, and that didn't work for me for so many reasons. And this led me to a self-discovery that I never expected to be so life-changing. healing is multifaceted. It requires us to really look at our whole selves and to get really honest about what we see. I started to see movement towards recovery when I started to integrate yoga into my life daily. When I started to incorporate the music into all aspects of my life, including my yoga practice, my healing completely accelerated. And listening to Smile's music helped me to open my consciousness. I was able to open my eyes to new perspectives and make changes that I needed to make in order to recover. The most noticeable difference that I saw right away, like immediately after listening to my first frequency track, was how much my anxiety stopped, completely stopped. There was such a relief. My mind was actually quiet for the first time in so many years. I felt safe. I felt this comfort and this peace immediately. I continued to listen daily, and I found that amazing things were happening inside of me. I felt calmer, I felt happier. I felt like I was in this little bubble of peace. Physically, I started to see the changes happening. I started to see the things happening in my body that needed to happen for me to heal from my illness. I felt empowered, I felt hopeful, and something that I hadn't felt in years. This is why we at Listening to Smile integrate yoga and listening to Smile music together. We see such a huge benefit from integrating the music into other modalities of healing. It accelerates these modalities, it steps them up to another level because it works on the brainwave states and the neural pathways in the brain. This is something that is not very easy for us to do alone at home, but the Listening to Smile music makes that possible. This is where real change happens. This is where the body and the mind sync up and work towards health of the being as a whole. That is true health. And listening to Smile frequency music will get you there.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching or listening to Talking Heads. Please do contact our sponsor, Listening to Smile, and you can use the code RWDJ, Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline, RWDJ, to get a promotion. We are back with Caroline Heward. She is the Harley Street stress expert and just led us through another transformational session. And you couldn't have been more on point because I just had this conversation with somebody last night. Someone, nameless person, says quite frequently, I will try to do better.
So they're not going to.
No. And I say to this person, nothing is going to change.
It is hilarious. Behavior is funny when you're not in it, but when you're in it, it's not, because it's very challenging. And to the person listening, you just absolutely know. But when they absolutely hear their conversation, their words, in that space of that awareness, that's when it can change. But they just don't realize it. It's a sitcom. It's actually how sitcoms work.
And the use of the word "and" instead of "but." It's so true. As soon as someone says "but," forget everything else. It's like, that's not happening. It's a negative. Here comes the excuses. And I think that, to your point, we're not aware of what we're doing. And once we are aware, then we can make a change. So I tried to bring this out to this person. And
you hear that? I try.
Yeah, I said I tried. Right, I did, exactly. I didn't even catch myself saying that. I said to this person, yeah, I said to this person, I've heard this for a long time and I don't see anything changing. So I just think that I now have some additional information to share to help this person see what the situation is. And you mentioned something that caused me to think of something else I wanted to bring up. The word well. When someone starts a sentence with the word well, it's sort of the word well doesn't really add any value to a sentence, does it, in that format? Well, I thought I would.
It's kind of a conversation. It is another one of those words that you're expecting there to not be a great outcome. Well, I was thinking about that, and it doesn't give you that feeling of there's something good going to come out of it. I usually start with, okay, I've got onto this and I've moved this forward and I really need your approval. Can you do it, today if possible? I would really appreciate that. And so I'm kind of going with, okay, this is where I am. But well kind of starts with a bit of a softer, there's something that's not quite been done.
It's kind of wishy-washy. It's really non-committal. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And when you put well, I'll try to do better in the same sentence.
I'm definitely not going to do better. You see why I'm laughing? The poor person that's using try and trying and tried is really suffering,
Yeah.
and they're constantly in a battle of one step forward, two steps back, because they can't get the stuff done and they don't know why. And the root of it is because they actually don't feel that they can do it. And so this is where those words come in, try, hopefully, maybe, I'll have all those very soft words, because, they'll come back and they'll justify, well, I'm not sure if I can do it. So I'm saying I will try to do it. And when they have the revelation of try and trying equals tried, and every time they use it, it sets them up to fail, they just kind of turn around and go, oh my gosh, no wonder it's not been working. But we're using words in terms of how we're feeling. So how we're feeling inside projects outside of us. And so it's not just that we think we're hiding if we have low self-esteem or confidence issues, or we're not feeling comfortable or confident in something. And so we'll use the words try and trying, or although, or however, because it's like a caveat. It's just in case it doesn't work.
It's a safety net.
Yeah, yeah.
What about I'll think about it?
I'll think about it. Oh, that's a classic. It's a no. I actually call people out on that, and I just say, you know what, I've spent 20 minutes explaining this to you and giving you a free consultation. And sometimes I can be, sort of half an hour or more. And I actually say, please don't insult me by saying I'll think about it. If the investment's too high, or if the timing doesn't work, or if it's not quite what you're looking for, please honor me by saying that it's not right for you in whatever reason, rather than say I'll think about it. And every time I do call people out and they go, well, yes, it is a little bit high for my budget, and yes, I don't have the time, and this is the thing, to call people out, because if it's not okay, then you don't waste your time and they don't waste theirs. That's a lot of low frequency vibration and energy with I'll think about it. And I'd much rather kind of give them something as a gift, and them not feel beholden to give me something back, but actually take it as a gift, and not feel that there's been some drain somewhere. And so, yeah, I'll think about it as just, sort of thank you very much, but no, thank you. It's really what they're saying.
All tactic. But what if I'm using but. Can you ever use the word but? I don't know. I was going to say, what if you said to them, what is it you need to think about?
I would, using the word but, I've seen it used positively. It is a low vibration word, and it's not so good to use it, but I have seen it used. You see, but I have seen it used where they've given all the negative, and then they've said, but this is what we can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen it used that way, and it's been positive. And at the same time, I've found myself doing it because I'm aware. And when I hear it, I go, oh, and I've used it in a, yeah, because I'm kind of going, oh, I've said it, and it's the same as I will try. And I think, no, what I will do is I'll come back to you because I know. And when I'm not feeling comfortable or confident about something, we do naturally go into these behaviors, and our communication aligns with what we're feeling and believing. And so if we're feeling unconfident about something, then our behavior will change with that communication.
Yes, that's true. For myself personally, over the last year since I started this platform, I have had to make some decisions where people proposed something to me and I felt a little uncomfortable, and I decided to walk through that discomfort because I thought something greater was on the other side, instead of saying, oh, let me have a think about it, or I'm not really sure I can afford it, or I thought, no, I'm actually going to walk through the door, and if it doesn't work out, at least I know I went through the experience. Otherwise, I'm never going to know.
Well, this is where gut instinct is really helpful. And if you do need to think about it because it's new, it's something very different, then, my invitation is to say something like, that's a lot to take in. I would like some time to review the information so that I can make a more informed decision and feel what feels right for me at this time. And when you do it that way, it's okay to review, and it's completely okay to say, can you send me more information? This is very interesting. I would like to know more. Can you send more details so that I can have a look at it in much more depth later on? And that is then not a no, not a I'll think about it, which is a yes but no thank you, thanks but no thanks. It's actually a I need some space to consider this, because it's important, especially if it's something big, to take that space to consider things. And so it's not wrong to consider things. And certainly if it's a high priced service, then you are doing yourself a disservice by not taking space to consider. And the solar plexus, which is where is the power center, it's our place where we have foresight and insight. It is the place of sight, and it is the place of where the abdominal brain resides. So this gut instinct resides in the place where we're not feeling confident, low self-esteem. And it's also the place where we go into our gut instinct, what feels right. And it's important, especially if it's a big ticket item, to take the space and to take the time. I frequently have people say, this all sounds great, and can you send me more information? And frequently they do come back and say, yes, I'd like to book, and they tend to book the most expensive package. And that's great, and that's because if they'd have initially come to me, they would have just looked at a one-off session or a very small session. And actually, when they've had time to think about it and review the information and contemplate after the experience of the free consultation, let's say, they then come back with, I've had frequently people have come back from, a small session to go into the most premium package. And how does that happen? It's because they've gone inside and they've reviewed it, and they're making the decision from all the right places. And so it's important to give people time.
I agree with that. I have another perspective that I'd like to run by you, which is, if that was what you had said to me, I would acknowledge your feelings and I would say, Caroline, I appreciate what you just shared with me, and I totally respect the fact that you need some time and space. What would it take for you to make a positive decision today?
In the work that I do, that wouldn't really work because it's a healing process, it's a therapy, and they would need to integrate and process. Some people, because I'm answering all their questions and giving them everything they need. And so in terms of the work that I do, it's important to give them, if they need it, time to process and integrate, and then they will come back. And for much more structured type things that are don't kind of, and they're not therapy based, then I would, that's a very good, phrase to use for them to, because you'll get an objection come up when you say, what would it be? And this is where you will have an opportunity to hear what their objection is, and then you can address their specificity of their objection. And so, yes, it's good for I would consider non-therapy type work. And that's because I'm being very authentic in what I do. And if somebody's not ready, they're not ready. And if somebody needs a few days to integrate what's happened, that's great, because my perspective is I've given unconditionally and freely to help that person the space that they've needed. And I know that I've helped them genuinely out of the place that they were in. And when they come back, if they come back, it's because it was right for them. But what happens, everything's connected, everything. And so if I help one person and I've been on the phone, say, for instance, an hour, and I've genuinely helped them, but they don't come back, very quickly, somebody will come in and they will book a long session, and I've done no work at all. They will send an email or a text message, or they will say, I've had a friend recommend me to your services who you really helped. Can I make a booking, with no consultation? I say, well, I'd love to give you that free consultation so that you have maximum benefit of what your friend had, which is specific to you. And I've done such a consultation today, this morning, where the person called yesterday and said, I've been referred to you, when can I come and see you? And I said, whoa, that's really great, and I'd like to do the same offering that your friend had to you, so that you get exactly the same service and outcomes. And he's really, really excited, and we've booked a session for him on Thursday next week, where he will process and integrate what came up in his consultation. And so it works, from a therapeutics perspective. And also when you're buying big ticket things, sort of when you're investing a lot of financial investment in something, it's important to give the person space to feel that it's the right time for them. It might be the right solution, but it might not be that the person is ready at that specific time. And that will create a positive outcome for both you and the person that's receiving the service if the timing is right for both. I trust that's helpful.
Yes, that's definitely helpful. And I was going to acknowledge that I use the same approach with my coaching clients. In coaching, you can't really nail somebody down. It seems inauthentic. And I also feel that there's not a great connection then if you're pressuring somebody to make a decision. Then what are those coaching sessions going to be like? So I think that the approach that I mentioned is a good one. I've used it in my business career many times, and you do get to flush out what are the other objections that you might not have known about. But in therapy and coaching, no, I agree with you. It doesn't really have a good place.
And it's transformational too, because in a business perspective, non-therapy, it would be the difference between nailing it there and then, because it could just be timing. It could be that they're working on an investment proposal and they're waiting for the budget to the funds to come in. It could be something really small, and that tipping over, because then when you're asking that kind of question, especially in a business perspective, non-therapy, you'll be surprised what will come back because they're not expecting it.
Yes, exactly. You get information that you might not have had otherwise. You might find out that they're not the decision maker, or they don't have the ability to say yes, or they don't own the budget, or there's a competitor who was just in there 15 minutes before. You don't know what the situation is, but at least when you ask that question, you will find out something you probably wouldn't have otherwise.
I have another one for you, and many people are going for interviews in our current times. And working in marketing and PR for a number of years, as a chartered marketer, one of the things I would do, because I was regularly being sent for interviews through agencies, and I would actually say at the end of the interview, it would be good to know, how has this meeting gone for you? Have I got what you require, or has this meeting gone well from your perspective? Is what you're looking for? Am I presenting myself in terms of what you're looking for? So it's kind of, because they don't expect it. You know what I mean? They really don't.
I've got one also. Thank you so much for your time today. What red flags, if any, do you see in my background that would prevent me from moving forward to the next stage?
Oh, I love that. Yes, that's very nice. Very, very nice. And these are kind of the kind of things that you can say that will almost take the person off guard, because they will then, because it's said so off the cuff and genuinely, authentically, that they'll come back and they'll say, I've had people turn around to me and say, "Oh, it's gone very well. Yes, we'll be in touch." And then, oh well, I've that sounds promising. And when they do come out with, "We'll be in touch, we'll come back by written email, or we will give you a call," you'll be able to tell by the tonality if it's gone well or not. Because if they're interviewing lots of people, they might say something that's a casual for them and say, "We will be in touch. We've got a number of other people to see who are match your criteria, and we're looking for something specific." So they will volunteer information without you even trying to get it out.
I think also when you do that, you are coming from a position of confidence. Many people will leave an interview without asking. They will not try to close the deal or ask for the job, or they could be in a sales type of role, not in an interview situation, and they don't ask for the order. They don't ask for the business. They don't ask for the partnership. They don't ask for the next step. And you basically leave with something on the table that you could have taken with you, and it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and that's a good phrase. How much money are you leaving on the table? By not following up, by not saying those few things at the end to see where you are. And certainly in my therapy consultations, I've left people at the end of the consultation, and I do actually say, "And how are you feeling right now? Is your mind calmer? Do you feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders?" And they go, "Yes." And when you get, sort of the yes, the mind is calmer. Yes, they do feel better. Yes, they do feel like a weight's been lifted off their shoulders. And that is all true for them. They've had an experience. When you get yes 3 times, and that is positive, it's a positive experience for them, they're more inclined to say yes to coming to see you.
Excellent.
And it's not manipulative. It's really initiating the agreement that there's been some good things that have come out of it, because there might not be an awareness. But when you ask the question, "Does your mind feel calmer?" They go, "Actually, yes, it does." "Do you feel better? Do you feel like a weight's been lifted, like and they go, "Yeah, I do." And that's not being disingenuous. That's being really genuine, because I'm checking in with the person to see how they're feeling. And because they've had a therapy session, it's almost like I care about you enough to say, how are you feeling now? And I might be with them for an hour. "How are you feeling right now? Do you feel calmer? Does your mind feel less busy? Are there less thoughts running around?" And generally, the answer is yes, yes, yes.
It's very good to check in, especially at the end of a session. So when you're parting ways until the next session, if there is one, then you know that the person is in a better space than where they were when they first came to you.
And then when they come back, they say, "Well, I'd like to book a session. I just need to sort out my diary." That's another thing that comes up, diary commitments. "I'm not sure what my diary is like for next week." And essentially I just say, well, I'm a little bit busy over the next few days, so if I don't respond straight away, please bear with me, drop me a text or an email and let me know what your diary's like, and then we'll see if we can make the diaries work together. And so it's leaving again on a positive note for both parties. So it leaves everybody feeling that there's a way back in. But I tend to have people turning around and saying, I can't wait to see, I'm really excited, because I've left them with an experience. And an experience is exactly that. It's an experience. And they can't unravel it by analyzing it out. It's an experience. And the experience is transformational. It's not that I've given them conversation about something that they're about to purchase. They've had an experience of therapy, and there's nothing that they can do or say that unravels that or takes it away from the fact that they feel more calmer, the mind is less busy, they feel like they've had some sense of resolution, and they then go to bed that night and they will feel a calmer state, get a deeper state of sleep, and they will wake up feeling much more refreshed. That's how you know if you've had a good sleep, because you'll wake up feeling lighter, refreshed, and that the mind switched out. And it's my give back, really, that I always say, you will have a really good night's sleep. Whether they come and see me and pay me, or whether they just have the free consultation, they will have an incredible night's sleep and wake up feeling refreshed.
And what a gift that is. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Caroline. It's been a pleasure having you here today. And I know we've been streaming your banner, but for people who are on the radio who cannot see it, can you please give your contact information again?
Right. Just bear with me. I have my phone number here. Right. It's +44 0 if you're in the UK, 7523 120 189. You can reach me on email, nomorestress@live.co.uk. Reach out for a free consultation. It is my gift to you and the world to create inner peace, which translates into your relationships, your family, your colleagues, and that's how we create world peace, by transforming our own inner stress, and that translates into our environment, and more people get involved in that calm state of being. That's how world peace will be ensued.
Beautiful. Thank you, Caroline. What a wonderful way to go into the weekend. Thank you again for being here, and I wish you a fabulous rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was delightful, wasn't it? I certainly feel a sense of calm and peace. And please do reach out to Caroline. We've got some other wonderful shows coming up today. Our next show is Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure with the wonderful Diane Floyd Bay, my co-host, and our special guest returning yet again with more delightful information about travel protocols, wonderful places to go for a holiday. Her name is Sandy Adams. She'll be joining me at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 p.m. British Summer Time. Right after that, we have I Have a Story to Tell. And we've got some incredible guests today, Victoria George-Veal, as well as two of the wonderful women who are crown earners, crown wearers from different pageants. And Victoria and I will be interviewing them at 1:30 Eastern, which is 6:30 British Summer Time. Following up by that, we have another Talking Heads show, and that is at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, which is 8 o'clock British Summer Time. And finally, we'll be closing the day out with Pet Psychic Amina, welcoming back the Reverend Dottie Boone. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock British Summer Time. I will leave you with this, my friends. I am hosting a phenomenal seminar. It is called The Power of Listening. You too can be an expert listener. Why should you care? Do you want to have better relationships, deeper connections, and be more successful and effective in your personal and professional life? If the answer is yes to any of these, you need to attend my seminar, The Power of Listening. It's 90 minutes of power learning. You will be watching video role plays of different scenarios, and you'll be able to use your mobile device and answer questions about what you've watched. And then together on the screen, we'll be able to see how people answered, not who answered what, but overall how people's answers fell in terms of the different questions. And then at the end, we'll put it all together and see how much you learned and what you can identify as behaviors that are congruent with effective listening. So my seminar is the 16th of September. However, you do not have to attend it in person. You can attend via a link to watch anytime you want. Imagine that, 90 minutes. You can watch whenever you want. $47 a ticket. We have 3 options to watch on the live, which are 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And as I mentioned, the 4th option is the link that you can watch anytime you want. How can you sign up for this? It's so easy. You can go to my Instagram, which is Dr. Jacqueline. You can also go to Eventbrite, and you can just put in The Power of Listening. Or finally, you can go to my website, drjacqueline.com, book your session. All right, thank you. I look forward to having you join me for this wonderful session. And also, please join me at the end of the day today, 5 p.m., as I present the Listening Mentor questions and answers. We have questions from our audience that I will be answering today about relationships, how you can be a more effective listener in your relationships. And who doesn't want to know that, especially now? All right, friends, thank you again. I look forward to having you back. If you have any follow-ups for me, just email me, Jacqueline@drjacqueline.com. Anything you need to do to connect with me, you can go to my website, drjacqueline.com. That makes it pretty easy to find me and connect with me. Thank you again. We'll see you again soon. Bye.